Hello again, this is Chris Ward. I don't know if it's just you, Dr. Diener, who's watching this, or if the whole class is, but otherwise, hello. I am back from getting married. That's fun. Ring on the finger. It's exciting. And I am doing the project on a local site visit for a community development site. I am going to be talking about the Copley YMCA, which is in City Heights. My wife and I live on the border of North Park and City Heights, and so, excuse me, I'm sick. It's something that's very close to home. It's something that we actually interact with several times a week. We go there and use their gym, and this is also my area of ministry. I am located in City Heights. The church that I work for is in City Heights. Our offices are right in the middle of it. We meet at Hoover High School, which is right on Elkhorn Boulevard. So it is a place that is really exciting for us as a church, because we are not just about what we're doing, but we're also about what God's doing through other churches and through other other community development organizations. We partner with a lot of organizations, and though we don't directly partner with the YMCA, both I, my wife, a couple coworkers of mine go to the YMCA, support it, build relationships there, and it's a cool opportunity to see how they are doing community development as well, and to learn from them for our church's context. Excuse me, a little bit about the YMCA. It was originally started as a Christian organization, as most of you probably know, with the intent of furthering the gospel of Jesus Christ through means of community development, through investing in the community around them, in the social lives of the people they were serving, and to generally promote healthy living, but all for the sake of living out the Great Commandment, to love God, and then the second greatest, to love others, and the Great Commission to make disciples of all nations. And this was done through the avenue of community development. I'm looking at their website right now, so if I'm referencing over here, that's why. The YMCA, they actually, under their mission, they still retain a reference to God, which is really interesting. And I thought this would be a little bit of background why I chose this. This isn't necessarily a Christian, or an overwhelmingly Christian endeavor, the YMCA, or organization anymore, at least. They're not really overtly saying we, want to provide community development and convert you to Jesus. It's stated in some of their basic philosophies and their mission that they are about God, but in general they want to promote healthy living. At the top of their page it says, "We focus our work in 3 key areas because nurturing the potential of kids, helping people live together, and supporting our neighbors are fundamental to strengthening communities." So they're primarily about strengthening the community. It's not necessarily a bait and switch. They're not trying to help you and then make you convert to Jesus, belief in Jesus. But they're also not shy about the fact that they are have their foundations in a Christian worldview. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about this one because it started out as a small seed project, the terminology that we use, but it's grown into something a whole lot bigger. And so I thought it might be cool to see how it, in its current state, falls into the seed categories or seed project categories, how it doesn't. And how it falls into the discipline of love matrix, but now it's on a bigger scale. Something that used to be very Christian and now still is, but isn't as overt about it. So, anyways, so the mission, which is something that they've retained, is the YMCA of San Diego County is dedicated to improving the quality of human life and to helping all people realize their fullest potential as children of God through development of the spirit, mind, and body. So that's pretty spiritual in what it's saying. So realize their fullest potential as children of God. through the development of the spirit, mind, and the body. But that's about as far as it goes as far as kind of spirituality. The areas of focus don't talk about discipleship or Bible study or whatever. The areas of focus are youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. What makes this interesting is that though they don't overtly make these things spiritual, because their mission is to help people realize their fullest potential as children of God through their development, these areas of focus, they believe, tie into the potential as children of God. So the youth development, the healthy living, the social responsibility. And I think what the YMCA is doing is they're having a bigger kingdom view, which is really cool for me, because I believe that God is bringing the rule and reign of His kingdom on this earth now, and that's not just through converting people. That's not just through random evangelism. That's also through justice and mercy and righting systems that keep people in poverty, and teaching people how to not just be rescued, but also how to engage in those things, and then to become rescuers as well. We are, a mentor in college referred to it as rescued rescuers. That's what we are. And so it's kind of, that's what the Y is doing in a social responsibility type way. And then, real quickly, one of the other, in their basic, philosophy, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 10 points, talking about volunteerism, service, want to accomplish the mission, that sort of thing. But then the very last point, and this is the only other spot that I found, something about Christianity. And it says the YMCA is people united in a common effort to put Judeo-Christian principles into practice. So that's kind of ambiguous as well. It's not necessarily we want to replicate the life of Jesus Christ, right? Judeo-Christian, so it involves the heart of God as revealed to His people Israel, I guess, right? So Judeo, Jewish ideals of the God of the Bible, and then Christian principles into practice. So not necessarily we want to believe that Jesus saves everyone, but we want to take the principles found in the Bible, and principles like loving your neighbor, and valuing the life of someone else, or service, sacrificial service, and we want to put them into practice. So it's kind of transformed less about making disciples of Christ as it used to be, and more into taking what the Bible says and putting it into practice, which it's cool that it's still there, although it has changed a little bit. And then just so you know, their desired outcomes to strengthen and enrich family life, build self-esteem, appreciate the world, encourage healthy lifestyles that promote a healthy development of the spirit, mind, and body, teach and demonstrate YMCA character development. So those things kind of tie in to the seed project characteristics and the discipline of love matrix. So I'll kind of tackle those one by one. Excuse me. I'll tackle those one by one, yeah. So we'll start with the seed project characteristics. Seed projects should be covered in prayer. That's the first one. So I know that the YMCA, as not primarily a Christian organization anymore, I guess, was a risky choice in this project. But like I said, it's interesting to think that it was initially a project that was covered in prayer. And I don't know the executives. I don't know who runs it anymore, but I know that there are probably Christians involved in the YMCA. I mean, my best friend works at one, and so he's engaging in community development there, and is covering it in prayer. However, that's not from the top down. So I guess the initial seed project characteristic anymore being covered in prayer, there probably is some of that in the organization, but that's probably not something forced. Since the YMCA has grown into something so big, it probably isn't PC to be able to command everyone to pray every morning or something like that. So right off the bat, the YMCA, I don't know if it necessarily does that anymore. The next thing is seed projects reflect God's heart of compassion for brokenness. They are not manipulative tools for evangelism. Now this one I really, really saw in the YMCA. And so I've talked about the YMCA kind of as a whole. I'm going to transition into my personal visit, or visits. I'm there regularly. And the YMCA reflects God's heart of compassion for brokenness. And they're not manipulative tools for evangelism. At this YMCA, it's in City Heights. City Heights has the #1 crime rate, the highest crime rate in all of San Diego. It has the highest concentration of refugees in San Diego and is one of the top 3 refugee locations in the United States. There's a lot of gang violence, a lot of sex trafficking, a lot of drug moving, and the YMCA in the midst of it recognizes the brokenness, and it represents a desire to see this city renewed and restored and redeemed, not just for the sake of Christ, but for the sake of seeing the world as it should be, and more more specifically as God would have it if they're deriving their Judeo-Christian principles, right, from the Bible and applying them. Then they see the heart of God in seeing the city renewed, and so they reflect that. They engage with the broken. They're in the middle of the worst of the worst, and they're seeing renewal and trying to seek restoration. Seed projects are motivated by God's intentions and carried out with God's strength. Now, this one in 2 parts, I think it fulfills one and not the other. Seed projects are motivated by God's intentions, Judeo-Christian principles. They're seeing what God is about, seeing what Jesus is about, and they want to do that. So that's what they're motivated by. However, are they carrying it out by God's strength? I don't know that they have staff meetings every morning and are praying together that the Holy Spirit would empower them to transform the city. Probably not. So I think that it fulfills this characteristic in part. Seed projects should be thoughtfully planned. I was going through the YMCA website and I talked with the leaders and everything, and there's a lot of thought that goes into this. What does the community need specifically? All YMCAs kind of have these general principles, but what does their specific YMCA need? And in that, the Copley YMCA that I go to is this really small, old